Get out and don't come back. Mom screamed, throwing my clothes on the lawn. 7 years later, security called. Ma'am, your parents are at the gate of your estate. I smiled and said, let them wait. I sat down my coffee and stared at the security monitor, showing two figures huddled under an umbrella. At the gates of my Malibu estate, the same parents who'd thrown me out like garbage. On my 18th birthday, the same ones who'd called me worthless, a burden, a waste of space. Ma'am, security's voice crackled through the intercom. They say it's urgent. Family emergency. Family. The word tasted bitter, even after all these years. I'm Luna Thorne, though they knew me as Lucy Thompson, the daughter they'd erased from their lives. At 25, I owned a tech startup valued at $200 million, lived in a house that cost more than my parents would see in 10 lifetimes, and had built everything from nothing. From less than nothing, actually. From active sabotage. Tell them to wait, I repeated. I'm in a meeting. I wasn't. But they could stand in the rain for a while. God knows I'd stood in worse. 7 years ago, I'd woken up on my 18th birthday to my mother ripping the covers off my bed. Get up, she'd snarled. You're 18 now. Legal adult. Time to go. I'd blinked, confused. Go where? I have school. Not anymore. We've withdrawn you. Your father and I discussed it. We're done raising you. But I graduate in 2 months. Should have thought about that before you decided to be such a disappointment. My crime? I'd refused to drop out at 16 to work at my uncle's factory. I'd wanted to finish high school, maybe even college. I had dreams of working in tech, of building something meaningful. To my parents, Karen and Dale Thompson, that made me too good for my raising, and ungrateful. My younger brother Kyle watched from the doorway, smirking. At 16, he'd already dropped out to work construction with Dad, the golden child who understood his place. Mom, please, I begged as she threw my clothes onto the front lawn. Where am I supposed to go? Not my problem anymore. Maybe those fancy dreams of yours will keep you warm. The neighbors had watched, some with pity, others with judgment. In our small Georgia town, parents' word was law. If the Thompsons were kicking out their daughter, she must have done something to deserve it. My father had stood on the porch, arms crossed. Don't come back begging when you fail. You made your choice. What choice? I'd screamed. Wanting an education? Thinking you're better than us, he'd corrected. Well, let's see how far that attitude gets you in the real world. They'd gone inside and locked the door. Just like that, I was homeless, with nothing but the clothes they'd thrown out, and $73 I'd saved from tutoring kids in math. I'd walked to the library, the only place I could think of, and sat there until closing, trying not to cry. The librarian, Mrs. Chun, had noticed. Lucy, shouldn't you be home? I don't have one anymore. She'd listened to my story, then done something that changed my life. She'd given me a laptop. It's old, she'd said, but it works. And Lucy, don't let them win. You're brilliant. I've watched you help those kids. Seen how quickly you understand concepts. That's a gift. I'd slept in the park that night, laptop clutched to my chest. The next day, I'd used the library's Wi-Fi to search for resources. Homeless shelters, youth programs, anything. That's when I'd found Future Path, a program for homeless youth that provided temporary housing and help finishing school. The catch? It was in Los Angeles. I'd used my $73 for a Greyhound ticket and never looked back. The program gave me a bed in a shared room and access to online classes. I finished high school in 6 weeks, then started taking free coding courses. Turns out I was good at it. Really good. By 19, I was freelancing web design. By 20, I'd saved enough to rent a studio apartment. By 21, I'd built an app that helped homeless youth find resources. Shelters, food banks, job training. It went viral after a tech blogger discovered it. This is brilliant, one investor had said. Personal experience? You could say that. They'd invested $2 million. I'd used it to expand the app, hire developers, create partnerships. By 23, we'd helped connect 100,000 homeless youth with resources. By 24, Google offered to buy us for $200 million. I'd said no. We were just getting started. Now, at 25, Path Forward was the leading platform for youth in crisis. We'd expanded internationally, partnered with governments, saved lives. And I'd done it all without my family's support or approval. Ma'am, security interrupted my thoughts. They're still waiting. The woman is crying.
Crying.
My mother had never cried for me.
Not when I'd begged to stay.
Not when I'd called from LA. Hungry and scared, swallowing my pride to ask for help, only to be told I was dead to them. Send them to the guest house. I decided.
I'll meet them there.
I didn't want them in my home. The guest house, sterile, impersonal, was enough. I took my time getting ready. Designer jeans, a simple but expensive sweater, minimal jewelry. I wasn't the desperate girl they'd thrown away. I was Luna Thorne, CEO of Path Forward, named one of Forbes 30 under 30. They needed to see the difference. The walk across my estate took 5 minutes. 5 minutes to cross grounds that sprawled over 2 acres, past the pool, the tennis court, the meditation garden. 5 minutes to prepare for faces I'd only seen in nightmares for 7 years. They were sitting on the guest house porch, soaked despite the umbrella. My mother looked older, grayer, smaller. My father had lost weight, his face gaunt. They both looked up as I approached, and I saw the moment they recognized me. Lucy. My mother's voice broke. It's Luna now, I corrected. Lucy died 7 years ago. You look, my father trailed off, taking in my appearance, my confidence, my clear success. Alive? Fed? Not begging on the streets like you predicted? We didn't know, my mother whispered. We thought. You thought what? That you'd throw out your teenage daughter and I'd magically be fine? Or did you hope I'd fail and come crawling back? We made a mistake, my father said quietly. A mistake. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. A mistake is forgetting to buy milk. You threw me out. You withdrew me from school. You told me I was worthless and not to come back. We were angry. About what? That I wanted to graduate? That I had dreams beyond this small town. My mother started crying harder. We were wrong. We see that now.
Now.
I sat down across from them, studying these strangers who shared my DNA. What's changed? Why are you here? They exchanged glances. My father cleared his throat. Kyle's sick. Of course. There was always something. Sick how? Kidney failure. From an accident at the construction site. He needs a transplant. And you want me to get tested? I said flatly. You're his sister. Was his sister, until you decided I wasn't part of the family anymore. Please, my mother begged. He's dying. Whatever happened between us? Whatever happened? I stood up. You mean when you threw me out with nothing? When I called begging for help and you hung up? When I sent graduation announcements from my GED program and you returned them unopened? We didn't know you'd become this. My father gestured vaguely at me. This? You mean successful? Happy? Alive?
Rich.
He said quietly. Yes. There it was. The truth. So, if I was still homeless, still struggling, would you be here? Or is it only worth claiming me as family now that I have something you need? That's not fair. Fair. I laughed. Was it fair when I slept in parks? When I went hungry? When I cried myself to sleep wondering what I'd done to make my own parents hate me? We don't hate you, my mother sobbed. No? Then what do you call throwing out your child for wanting an education? We thought you were being uppity, thinking you were too good for us. I never thought that. I just wanted more. I wanted to learn.
To grow. To build something.
Why was that so threatening? Because we couldn't, my father admitted. We couldn't give you college. Couldn't understand your dreams. It was easier to call you ungrateful than admit we were limited. The honesty surprised me, but it didn't erase 7 years of abandonment. So you threw me away. We were wrong, he repeated. But Lucy, Luna, you're still Kyle's sister. He needs help. Where is Kyle? I asked. Why isn't he here? Begging himself. Another glance between them. He doesn't know we're here. He's ashamed of how he treated you. He should be. I remembered Kyle's smirk as Mom threw my clothes out. His laughter when I pleaded with Dad. The text he'd sent from my parents' phone. Stop calling. You're not our problem anymore. He was just a kid, my mother defended. So was I. Silence stretched between us. The rain had stopped, but the air was heavy with more than humidity. I'll get tested, I finally said. Their faces lit up with hope. But not for you. And not for Kyle. For the 16-year-old girl who was poisoned by your bitterness. Maybe with a kidney from someone who made something of herself. He'll learn it's okay to dream. Thank you. My mother reached for me. I stepped back. I'm not doing this for free. We'll pay. With what? You can't afford my gardener.
No.
I want something else. I want you to volunteer. At Path Forward Shelters, I said, I want you to serve meals to homeless youth. To see their faces. To understand what you did to me. For how long? My father asked. Forever. Or, at least until you understand that every one of those kids was thrown away by someone who should have loved them. Every one of them is somebody's Lucy. My father's face crumbled. We'll do it. And I want a public statement. A video. Admitting what you did. We'll use it in our awareness campaigns about youth homelessness. Lucy. Luna. Those are my terms. Take them or leave them. They nodded, defeated. One more thing, I added. After the transplant, if I'm a match, we're done. No happy family reunions. No using my success to brag to your friends. You lost the right to claim me 7 years ago. We understand, my mother whispered. I stood to leave, then turned back. You know what the worst part is? If you had just supported me, just believed in me, I would have shared all of this with you. I would have bought you a house, taken care of you, made sure you never struggled. But you threw me away because I dared to want more. We know, my father said. We know we lost the best thing we ever had. No, I corrected. You threw away the best thing you ever had. I lost nothing. I gained everything. I walked back to my house, leaving them in the guest house. My assistant would handle the rest, the testing, the logistics, the paperwork. I'd done my part. That night, I sat on my balcony overlooking the ocean, thinking about the girl who'd slept in parks with a borrowed laptop. She'd been so scared, so alone, but so determined. You did it, I whispered to her. You proved them wrong. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Luna, Mom told me you're getting tested.
Thank you.
I'm sorry for everything. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for every kid who's told they're worthless. Prove me wrong. Make something of your second chance. Then I blocked the number and went inside. 2 weeks later, the test came back. I was a match. The surgery was scheduled. The legal documents signed. My parents started their volunteer work, serving meals to kids who looked like I had once looked. Lost, scared, defiant. The day before the surgery, I visited Kyle in the hospital. He looked small, sick, nothing like the cocky teenager who'd laughed at my pain.
Luna, he said.
I don't, I interrupted. Don't apologize. Don't thank me. Just promise me something. Anything. When you get better, do something with your life.
Get your GED.
Go to college.
Build something.
Don't let their limitations become yours. I will, he promised. I want to be like you. No, I said firmly. Be better. I built my life on spite and survival. Build yours on purpose and possibility. The surgery went well. I recovered in a private suite, working on my laptop, running my company. My parents tried to visit. I had security turn them away. The debt was paid. A year later, I got a letter. Kyle had enrolled in community college, studying computer science. He included a photo, him in a Path Forward volunteer shirt, serving meals at a shelter. Learning to give back. He wrote, "Thank you for the second chance." I kept the letter.
But I didn't respond.
Some bridges, once burned, couldn't be rebuilt. They could only serve as reminders of how far we'd come. The security footage from that rainy day, my parents at my gate, begging, I kept that too. Not as revenge, but as proof. Proof that the girl they'd called worthless had built an empire. Proof that sometimes the best response to being thrown away is to become someone they never imagined you could be. They kicked me out at 18 for being worthless. 7 years later, when they begged at my gate, I gave them exactly what they'd given me. Nothing but the chance to earn redemption by serving the very people they'd once considered worthless. The difference? I became priceless by helping kids like me. They became worthless the moment they threw their daughter away. And that's the real karma. Not success. Not revenge. But the knowledge that every youth I helped find shelter is a repudiation of what they did to me. Every success story from Path Forward is proof that throwing away children doesn't break them. It just teaches them to build homes where everyone belongs.